the Vice Chair of the Federation, and thank you very much for asking me to come and say a couple of words. And congratulations to the young workers. It means that for the labor movement and for organized labor, that there are young people that are going to keep this very necessary part of our democracy, labor unions and organized labor, continue to be a part of how decisions are made about the workplace, about wages, and about the basic rights and respects that workers deserve and need in any job that they have. I'm going to talk a little bit about I was going to talk a little bit about economics and jobs, but that kind of sounds like it would leave the food pretty cold by the time you guys are ready to eat. So let me just say a couple of examples right now. And people talk about the state of our economy and how, fundamentally Congress has not done anything, and the leadership in the House of Representatives has done nothing to begin to turn this economy into something stable and something that generates jobs for the American people, for working families, and for the middle class. Done nothing. And in doing nothing, we continue the leadership there, Ryan, Boehner, Cantor, continue to promote this failed economic policies that we've had for the last 6 years plus. And that failed policy began with allowing financial institutions, Wall Street, to basically do as they pleased. And it almost brought a major collapse, beginning with housing, to our nation. And we went through the worst recession, close to a depression that we've ever been. And as we try to, and it's still a delicate situation, trying to crawl out of this hole, to me, and I'm a simple person, the best way for us to stabilize our economy is to have jobs and have people working, period. And we begin to deal with the fundamental questions about, one of the things I read about today was that the top 1% of the richest people in this country own and control as much as 90% of the assets that the rest of us have. 6 hedge fund managers and directors of hedge funds in this country average $2 billion a year in net gain. $2 billion a year. And you have the Walmarts, the Burger Kings, and today there was an action for minimum wage in Phoenix by the workers there. Very proud of them. It's a huge risk. The McDonald's, those corporate bodies, 7 of them. You as a taxpayer and I as a taxpayer subsidize them to the tune of $7 billion a year because all of their employees qualified for some form of public assistance and support. That anybody that can tell me that Walmart cannot afford to pay their workers a fair and livable wage while sucking up $7 billion of taxpayer subsidies so their employees will have health care, housing, be able to feed their kids, public assistance, nutrition. That is not an economic equation that works for the hardworking people in this country. That is exploiting a situation, not paying your workers, and allowing the rest of taxpayers in America to subsidize your businesses to the tune of $7 billion a year. That is not economic fairness. We really think that the way that we have to invest, and every time it's been a hard time for this country. When there's been a hard time, it's been the American people that drag us out of those hard times. Why? Because we invest in them. We create opportunity. And this is the time that we have to invest in the American people. That's our greatest resource, and it's our biggest strength. We propose as an alternative to the Ryan budget, which by the way, would give millionaires in this country a $200,000 tax break, and middle-class working people would take a $2,000 hit. That's not economic fairness. We propose creating 8.8 million jobs, yes, through a budget that stops these crazy cuts that are happening to our schools, to our health care, to Medicare, and to Medicaid, and investing, and yet create 8.8 million jobs by 2017. And we do it by fixing our infrastructure, putting teachers back in the classroom, retrofitting our decaying infrastructure, and putting American people back to work so they too can begin to be part of equal opportunity and equality in this country. The greatest thing we have is this American dream that if we work hard, we play by the rules, we can sustain our families, and they'll have a better life than us. And right now, that dream is wavering. And one of the ways that we can make sure that that dream stays alive is for us to be more than we have to be participants and not merely watch this happen. The great strength of organized labor that created the middle class in this country, that established the minimum wage, that gave workers a voice in their workplace, the great strength of organized labor is that they created the economy that created the middle class and that made this nation the greatest economic power in this country. So let's go back to the basics as a country. Let's quit allowing the financial institutions to control our economic destiny. Let's put it back in the hands of working folk. And I think one of the ways is to look at investing in our people, creating jobs, and, by the way, that proposal and that budget we proposed reduced the deficit at the same rate after 10 years as the Ryan budget proposed to do. So it wasn't about something phony. It had substance to it, and that direct investment the first 3 years would lift our economy up. People could buy, people could take the risk financially that they want to for their families, and middle class kids could once again think that maybe I'll be able to go to college and not leave college owing to $50, $60, $100,000. Those are the opportunity links. We have to deal with wage disparity, income disparity. We have to deal with gender disparity. There is no reason in a country that values equality why women should make, on the average, less than their male counterparts doing the same. We have to deal with immigration. As we told them, if we make a path to legalization that allows working undocumented to be actual legitimate workers with the right to organize and the right of free association, what we create for this country in the first 3 years is almost $27 billion of new revenue. Over 10 years, $179 billion of new revenue into the economy of this country. So if some of the more conservative elements don't want to deal with the issue of immigration because it's a humane issue, because it's a necessary issue, because it's something that is morally correct to do it for the simple fact that it helps the economic well-being of the nation as a whole. The other thing I was going to talk about real briefly today, and that is the issue of what happens every election cycle. Every election cycle, the working folk, organized labor, everybody's friend. Everybody's friend. Everybody loves that working person during election time. Election time passes, and then for some reason it's forgotten. So the issue about working for a minimum wage, assuring that we invest and create jobs with infrastructure and in public works and in the public institutions, that's forgotten. And we go back to waiting another 2 years for the same pronouncements over and over again. You're probably as sick of them as I am. The question now for you, both as voters and as members of organized labor, is to put your energy and your dedication behind people that are going to keep their word at the end of the day. To put your energy and your dedication behind people that are going to say, this is not just about you, it's about your family and the next generation that's coming up. Put your energy and dedication behind people that are going to say, I'm looking at the future. And part of the future has to be a robust, active, and strong presence of organized labor in the economic well-being of this nation. When we were in the majority, we had a chance to do the checkoff. We didn't do it because we had to protect certain people from a difficult vote. Boy, do we regret that. We had a chance to begin immigration reform. We didn't do it to protect a certain group of people, Democrats, that was too tough of a vote. Boy, do we regret that. We had an opportunity to raise the minimum wage at that point to $9.75. We didn't do it because we're trying to protect a group of colleagues who were in a tough race. Boy, do we regret that. So no more regrets. And the commitments that I make to you as a candidate and others make must be binding. And the commitments that we make to each other must be binding. I want to finish by just saying one thing that I think is important in this election cycle. All the people are talking about, all the pundits, this is going to be a whooping for the Democrats. They're gonna lose more in the House, and they're not gonna hold the Senate. I think that if the Democrats, the Democrat wing of the Democratic Party acts like Democrats, behaves like Democrats, talks to the American people like the Democratic Party should, promises them, your future and your family's future is important to me, and promises them concrete actions for the future, we will win. Because the people I talk to, they want Democrats to come in, they want to vote for Democrats. They want to know that that person is going to be there on the line and take the votes that are necessary to move this economy and move the American people forward. They want to know that the person they elect is not going to come back to them and ask for a pass. The only thing in front of us right now is our dedication and our hard work, and to prove a lot of people wrong. You know, this state, we probably won't get the legislature, probably won't. But we need to have in statewide office men and women that are going to be a check and balance on the craziness of this particular legislation. We need to elect Democrats to that state office. And when we go back to Congress, and we're going to go back and deal with the budget, we're going to go back and deal with some appropriations, we're going to go back and deal with questions that are important to the American people, I think we need to make a contrast. This is what we believe, this is what they're doing. And if we present that contrast to the American people, we will win. I am a proud member of the Progressive Caucus in Congress, co-chair, but more importantly, I'm a proud member, I'm very proud to be a Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat because I learned from my dad, who was a union member, labor's local, and from my dad, who was an immigrant, who said to us that this labor union helps me help my family. And he was a Democrat, and my mom was a Democrat, because those are the people that stood for the working people. Yeah. Let's get back to that. Let's quit fooling around. Let's talk directly to the American people, and let's make sure that we just don't embrace the labor cause during the election time, that it becomes a constant all through our time of governance. Thank you very much.